Hi Natasha, and welcome to the Stories Behind Empowered Women in series. And thank you for being with us. I'm really super excited to find out about you today because you're all over social media at the moment. Just explain to the viewers what it is you do.
Okay, so as a profession, I'm a creative consultant. I tallied all my creative skills together after years and years of being a photographer traveling the world, because I really love working with others and I love one-to-one team building to actually form a common goal, or working in marketing companies and actually being a consultant to help them be the person outside the box to help them with their branding or their campaign for clients. So it's super exciting. Never something I ever expected.
Okay, so that's in a nutshell who you are, but your story is pretty unique, isn't it? Because something amazing happened to you back in 2000. It was 2012, wasn't it?
Yeah, when we were talking about how sort of journeys, how we started to sort of go, what were similarities and ailments that happened in our bodies, and then I sort of was brave enough to tell you that I was paralysed from the neck down. And I never in a million years thought that, you can get meningitis, you can get, things that happen and you recover. But what I have and had at the time it wasn't a stroke. It was something which I think there was that moment, wasn't it? And you were just like, what? When I said to you, oh my God, this was caused by stress. That's when I knew that we just had that connection because of different things that we're both sort of promoting and wanting to do. So yeah, it's been pretty traumatic, I'm not gonna lie.
You're saying that it was stress that actually created this paralysis in you?
So basically in 2012 when I was on a plane mid-Atlantic, guys, you just can't imagine mid-Atlantic to be feeling as if your body is being zapped out of your mind and soul. It just was totally decompartmentalized, and the doctor on board said that I was having a mini stroke. So I was like, great. And I never knew that was going to be something my body would do, because I owned, a very big business that was catering every 3 months to 85,000 people. Your stress levels and what I was going through was extreme, but it wouldn't be uncommon in the sort of society that we live in. So for me, I thought, okay, this is fine. The stress I have is fine. I don't need to worry. It's just something that will go away. So, to fast forward right now, to be from that place when they said that to me, to be told actually I have something called FND, which is a Function Neurological Disorder.
Right.
I've had to then sort of pick up my bags and go, right then, let me start my life again. And it started with not recognising, like a sort of form of psychosis and depression, stress, kind of brain fog, and then led to the body just actually giving up over a period of 4 days. And that then led to seizures, and just the body was giving up. It was just quitting.
Is this a common disease? Is this something that's the condition? Is it something that's quite rare? Is it an extreme version of stress? What can you explain what it is?
Yes, I can. So FND is something where they say chemical imbalance. Can I just correct that? Chemical imbalance is a fable. It's just a word to communicate that the body is not aligned, but it's actually forming from the neurotransmitters. So all this stuff I've had to study. So with FND, basically the neurotransmitters in your brain, which would normally fire off and go, right then, I'll do this and let's keep doing this, disassociate, they disconnect. So hence what was called by Freud conversion disorder. That's what it means. Your neurons don't convert. They just don't. So you're left with just trying to do stuff. I could not pick up. Right. I could not pick up a kettle. Okay. However much I tried, couldn't pick up a kettle.
So basically, the language of the brain is not able to say to articulate what it wants you to do, so therefore you can't do it. So did you have to teach yourself all this again?
Yeah.
Gosh, wow.
And I think that people don't realise what the stress can do. So with Function Neurological Disorder in the UK, I spoke to Queen's, the national that deals with neuro sort of psychology and science, and there's a little department that's part of St Thomas Hospital where they originated. And anyway, I spoke to the team and I was in tears after the conversation to know that a few years ago it was probably about 30,000, and the new statistics are showing it's 90,782 people in the UK diagnosed with FND but nowhere to go.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that
so it's getting prolific, but nobody's able to
nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. So what do what's your involvement in this now? Because I know you're a spokesperson for this. You're really widening the awareness behind it. You're championing the way.
So what I'm doing at the moment is, although I'm looking for supporters in the campaign, which is called Paralysed by Success, on a hashtag. The campaign is about spreading awareness of what stress can do to the body. And my target audience, or people that I'm actually looking for, is anyone that's in business, anyone that's had a loved one that's gone through mental health and has felt just helpless, like no strategy. When we have something in our lives that, we go to school, so we learn how to process, so that when we obviously need something done, work done, whatever it is, we have a process, we have a system. But when trauma happens, when something happens to the body or the mind, we're not told at school, we're not told anywhere, how do we cope with that or even manage with that? It's just, right then. And the NHS are under so much stress and pressure, but when mental health stuff is there's nowhere for them to go. So for me, I'm super, super excited. The fact that my 6 steps that I've done that didn't manifest in 6 steps until I really thought about it, have actually got myself back on my feet. And I'm super excited to launch my new brand, which is going to help people with their stress. But I've been called by leaders who have sort of had a chat with me. They said, "You're like the authentic stress expert." And I said, really? I think I'm a person with a message, and the message is powerful enough. But if we're going to have to label it, okay then. But yeah.
You are an experiencer, and I truly believe that experiencers now are the way forward, who are really the leaders, the experts, the real experts in the field, who are out there, being the champions, who are helping make real radical change. So what are you currently involved in? Because I know that you're in the middle of a campaign, aren't you? Just a tad. So what are you up to?
So my campaign, as I said, I'm out public speaking right now, so I'm doing paid gigs to get my message out there on what stress can do. So that's number 1. Number 2 is launching a social enterprise and cooperative. So the cooperative is there for people who see my message, see my heart, and want to, no pun intended, your surname, and want to basically be a part of my journey. But what this would lead to is then those people that have gone through mental health challenges, what I've found is that you get back into society and you can't help but have another brain, another way of thinking, and you look at a person in a different way and you think, I'm going to have to conform or manage to the standard, rather than that team or that person being able to actually just turn a cog together and we get it together. So the cooperative is really, really special because it's people who get it. And when I will be putting the crowdfund together, people put money into that crowdfunder, that will mean I will be able to have a model to use, so that I'll be able to offer the people with FND free training. And the idea is to get them back into work. I'm talking with government right now, just how do I set up a work placement scheme? So the businesses that are part of the cooperative are part of the cog, because I really truly believe we can talk about mental health until the days go dead and we get reborn. And it's great to spread the message, but we need action. We need places to actually have a system for people to follow and get back out there. So my brand that I'm launching and getting sort of like publicity on, I'm hoping, cross fingers because I'm being sponsored to make this happen, that will be launched in the middle of this year. So it's a lot going on, huh?
Absolutely, and really desperately needed, because you know, there is a lot of support out there for mental health, but not in a way that helps shape them to get them back into a role that really serves their higher needs. As you say, I think what happens is that a lot of people that go through mental health conditions, it is a form of breakdown of the old person, and as they rebuild that new person, they need that system or some you know, some system that helps them to support their new way of you know, getting out there into life. So I think what you're doing is tremendous, and you know, as you know, mental health is a massive epidemic now, and we can't even begin to equate to it, because you know, we don't really have true statistics to really shape that. So if you know, if people want to work with you or want to get in touch with you, Natasha, how do they get to find out more about you?
So at the moment you can connect with me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is called Split Second Events, and you'll see my face. Hello. And from there, you know, if you just want to build a relationship and we work together on your business, then the monies that I make from that still go into my campaign at a sort of percentage. I do need to live. I do want to come off benefits. It's something I've been very grateful for, but I want to move the next steps now. So if people want to connect in other ways, I'm on Facebook, again, Split Second Events. And otherwise you can find me on my personal profile, which is Natasha Sutton, NYR Kent Consultant. So I've got a question for you quickly.
Yeah, go on.
So per day, how do you bring out your big kid? How do you have joy? What do you do?
Do you know what? Usually, I know it sounds bizarre, but I usually wait till my family come home, and then it's kind of like it's my performance. Then it just arrives. I've got my work hat on all day long. So when my big kid comes out, it's just purely because that my family bring it out in me. And that's pretty much, so I kind of slip into a very different role at night. My kids always tell me off for being too childish. I don't think I'm childish enough. So there you go, there's your answer.
I love that, and this is part of what, you know, what I do. It's bringing joy. So if people are scratching heads, which I hope they're not, but if they are, then it's really just a joy factor. How I got myself back on my feet is actually accepting my inner self and really just being a goofball, but doing it in a professional way. Simple.
You really have gone through, I mean, you really haven't touched on your story, but you've had to really overcome many challenges, and also the stigma around mental health as well. The people that perhaps haven't been there to support you as much. So do you feel that perhaps you've had to you found a different niche of people, different, you know, people that support you, a different way of living? Do you think you've reshaped your life very much more so, not just about letting go of stress?
Yeah, stress doesn't leave us. It's just a new way to actually manage it. And if you're clever enough to put a process together, then fine, like, applaud you. But 9 times out of 10, people are so busy that their intellect has to be everywhere rather than this one focus. So I've been really lucky over the last 6.5 years to just work on my mental health. And I was homeless for a period of time because my parents, my family, they just couldn't reach me. I was gone because in my head, I thought you'd go through the trauma, you'd come out of hospital, you'd pick up your camera and people would accept you. You might be walking a bit funny, you might be slurring on speech, which, you know, happens. or happened, and still does sometimes. And you'd be okay, you'd be accepted. And it's the absolute opposite. The discrimination and persecution I went through at some points, not in victim mode right here, but just fact, did happen, to the point where, if you can imagine, you're in a very low space anyway, and then you're a fighter, and then you're like, right, I'm going to do it, I'm going to take action, I'm going to go for it, and then someone just knocks it down and knocks it down, knocks it down. Of course you're going to be here, you're not going to be flat up here, you're not going to be wanting to climb up there, you're going to be feeling like absolute beep, I don't know if we can swear, and and you're just going to want to just quit. And there was a stage where, after living out of my car, again using my resourcefulness to be able to survive, I still took it a next level and attempted suicide, and that still hurts my heart that I did that to my soul. But it was because of heavy medication that the hospital was giving me, everything that was going on. And you don't realise, if you've got a heart and a fight, then how can the drugs be helping when actually they don't? They may help at some degree, but they cause so much damage anyway. So I had to come off all the drugs and everything, and just be with my mum and dad, and just take some real time before I could communicate clearly. And then I had the amazing Reg Lenny find me. He's living over in LA. He coaches the stars, and he got me to this place right now, this sort of, to get me empowered.
How did that happen? How did you get that connection?
Hey, so I used to be part of the entrepreneur circle, which would have, right at the beginning, had Deborah Mead in the Dragon's Den, Richard Branson, and you'll literally be smoozing, talking to these people, because I was already photographing those type of caliber of people anyway. So I was just doing what would be classed as my job, but I had much more to give, because I was in property and all sorts. So it was a thing that happened when he was there, through a mutual friend, and I never knew we would connect. He followed my journey, I followed him, but nothing crazy. And when he heard what happened in 2012, he just sort of came on the phone. I couldn't obviously pick up a phone, but he came on the phone. I do remember seeing his name, and it was only recently, the timing was right, and he took me under his wing, gave me a bit of work, flew me over to get some help, because all the seizures I had over the years, my spine is lovely, my vertebrae apparently are gorgeous, but lots of things kept happening when you're shaking, and it's a non-epileptic seizure, so of course you're flailing, you can't help that, it's not in the brain, it's just a body reaction to stress. So the lower spine anyway, I was really struggling with walking and having severe pain. He helped heal that. I can't put it into words. So
it's amazing, isn't it? Do you believe that the synchronistic situations happen when people are needing a lifeline? I truly believe it was your mindset. You knew that you needed to come off the medication. You needed to put yourself in a place of love. And when that happens, everything kind of aligns then. Your North Star is able to guide you, and he was obviously that lifeline that was going to pull you through this and help you to create what you needed to create.
It's so true. There's people that came in along the way before Reg, and I thought I'm going to use the word desperate. I was desperate for someone to love me. I was desperate for someone to see me, and desperate for just someone to give me a shot, take me under their wing and let me grow. That was a thing. So I was putting power in people's hands, and people, some of them abused it, and some of them actually did what they could and let me go. And it took a while for me to understand that, because I give my heart and soul when I know that there's a connection. But I'm learning now, because I'm back in society, that heart and soul, I keep branding you.
Thanks for the free advertising.
The heart and soul of Amanda. I'm starting to really understand that the levels of communication and support is knowing that you just be and let that moment evolve. It's not you demand or keep that desperation, because that type of energy, people pick up on it, and they don't understand what that energy is, if that is demanding, or if that is you actually in a different space, a negative space, which I suppose it was. So now it's kind of, I'm just flowing. If people come in, I'm like, great, here's what I've got. I make it very business, but then sometimes out of business, as you and I have formed, we if I didn't wear the glasses, they wouldn't be able to tell us apart. Like, you know, some are friendships that form, and just real connection, and that is a beautiful thing. I'm learning. I don't know if you agree, like when the years go on, to actually find the souls that you connect with are really beautiful. Happens because it comes quite rare to what it does when you're sort of in younger years. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, I think it comes from a level of maturity when you really get to know yourself. And the more you get to know yourself or invest in yourself, which is, you know, the campaign we're involved in at the moment, the more, I believe, you discern who your people are. And it really does, it really navigates you to the place that you should be in this world, your people, you know, your power, your purpose, and your peace. So, you know, I think it's commendable, because you've struggled, and you've overcome, you know, what most people couldn't possibly imagine, really. And through that, I think your clear message is that you have this, you know, unwavering faith that there is a solution out there, and because of that, you are a fantastic spokesperson for you know, people overcoming real adversities, especially at a time, you know, when we're really, you know, chronically overwhelmed with stress. So, you know, you are that, you know, you are an example of somebody who you know, people could become if they allow stress to really overwhelm them.
Yes.
Yeah. But also, you're a shining light to show that this is what you can do if you reverse it, or start taking right action now to make sure that doesn't happen.
The sooner I think, and maybe you agree with this, because obviously with your campaign you're doing right now, it's very much about the management, you know, well-being, good products, you know, and making sure everything goes in the body helps the mind and development. And I think that if you catch stress early, don't go to that place. Don't go like, oh, okay, I'll get this work done and then I'll go and have a cup of tea. Go and have the cup of tea, have a moment, honour your soul, because the difference will be that you'll be twice as much more productive. But these are the things that we are not trained to do. We're not a system in place. So of course we're going to go with what the brain says rather than what the body says, and that's the separation. But it's actually through what I do, through our conversations, you know, it's just that joy, that connection, making people smile, and then they sort of have a different perspective for that second, that minute, whatever it might be. And those moments are what makes stress levels chemically, scientifically, and also emotionally just disappear, just lower. And you're like, I want everyone, actually, should we do a little something, Amanda?
Go on then.
Just quickly. Okay, right. I want us to spur each other on. We're going to laugh, right? I'm going to start. You're going to carry on.
Yeah.
See if we can get the giggles. We're not in a giggly mood. What? I mean,
I've got a cough, so if I start a coughing fit, I'm going to have to edit this out, but I'll go with it. Go on then.
Okay, right. Everyone that's watching this, I want us all to have a giggle fit, right? Because, and then I'll share with you what you just did. All right. Okay. So I'm going to start the giggle.
Okay. I'm going to start coughing. See, I told you I would.
If anyone is giggling out there, then great. If anyone's thinking, what did I just tune into?
There's a fantastic video out on Facebook of a guy who's actually reading a story on his book, and he's laughing, and you see it's the infection that spreads through the characters. Everybody starts to giggle because he's a real, I absolutely love it. I guarantee you, people have got to find it, because whenever I really need a good giggle, that's exactly what I do. You watch somebody who giggles, and that's it. And I'm a giggler. I'm a real giggler. So for me at the moment, I'm trying not to laugh. My lungs are saying, please, I can't do this at the moment.
But okay, so we just did a little something. How are you feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do feel a lot lighter. I can't tell you, before this interview, my worst nightmare happened on a technological level, because, you know, we're in the middle of a campaign, and when things technically go wrong, it was just one of those moments. And I must admit, before I came on here, I did feel I had to really work on trying to get myself back into mode again. So yeah, you completely lifted all of that off of me now, so I can go back into my day. Yeah, absolutely.
But for anyone that's watched this as well, like, it's okay, so when you're stressed out, your cortisol and your stress hormones go up, and there's 5 of them, with cortisol being the biggest. Now, that's the lightest out of the chemicals, so it stays and it hovers a little bit longer than the rest. So when you have brain fog, it's because neurotransmitters have disappeared. They've get my teeth in, disconnected, and then the cortisol is going, hey baby, how you doing? And then you're like, why can I not focus? So the way to counterbalance it, it would be cool to on your page for people to actually say, I laugh my ass off, and actually I feel my happy hormones just counterbalanced. Simple, right? It's a science fact, as well as something to bring joy in. So
that's exactly what we need to do, really. You know, when we're going through stressful situations, we've got to find out our triggers. We've got to try and say to ourselves, right, enough's enough, take some time out and start to trigger off the happy, the more joyful emotions. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, you know, I would love, I think it would be so cool if we put an event or something together where we just bring out the joy. It would be so cool to just see all the followers, everyone. We put them in a room and we just literally have a day of fun, a day of learning, but knowledge, but also fun.
I do. I wholeheartedly agree. Whenever I teach anything, there can be serious elements, but the most important thing is that we have to have fun, because that has more of an impact on people. I've recognized that with learning, especially when we're unpicking ourselves, unraveling, and we're investing in ourselves, there can be a lot of seriousness that comes with it. But when we learn through joy, when we learn through fun, it really does rule out all of that. It overcompensates, and it takes us to another level. Really does.
Let's
Natasha,
do it.
It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, and I didn't realise how infectious this was going to be for me, because it's obviously put me in a much better space so I can get on with my day. So I wholeheartedly appreciate and thank you for that. So Natasha, oh bless you, thank you. So I will, I'll add all your links so that people can get in touch with you. And best of luck with the campaign. Please do keep us posted and let us know, because this will be going out on the 19th of Feb. I know lots of things are happening for you. So yeah, so best of luck, and please keep us posted and let us know all your transitions, what you're doing for you know, all those sufferers out there in the world, and how you're bringing joy to a much needed space.
Yeah, for sure. And same for you. I can't wait to see how your campaign and everything goes. It's going to be so cool seeing that come together and spreading the word. Ailments and stuff, it's something we can conquer.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So powerful. We are powerful.
Thank you, darling. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.